Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. 20,000 fans have found their way to this 0.44-mile track to enjoy NASCAR for the first time in 50 years in the state of Ohio. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. A slightly overcast day in Mansfield, Ohio. Temperature 67 degrees, a little bit cooler. We had precipitation yesterday. The humidity's up to 83%. Let's go down trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. We're riding around the track here as the drivers have been introduced. I'm on the truck with Dennis Setzer and Jack Sprague because these two guys will be on the front row. But, Jack, you did something a little different this week. Instead of starting on the inside like we'd normally see, you're going to take the outside line. Why?
Well, the outside is the groove here, and, you know, Dennis is my buddy and all, but I couldn't make myself go to the bottom. There's not a lot of grip down there, and it's pretty cool, though. Two Chevy truck sponsor Chevrolet Silverados on the front. We got the right trucks, baby. I think we're both pretty good. You know, Hamilton's pretty good. The 14's pretty good, but I think we're in the place we need to be to stay in the front. It's very hard to pass here, and hopefully we can come home 1-2 either way.
Okay, this guy has won 23 races 4 times from the pole. Wendy?
I'm not touching that one.
8 weeks ago, Rick Crawford limped away from Atlanta with a broken left foot. His day was shortened from an incident on lap 43. 4 weeks later, he proved the best medicine for him was to get back behind the wheel of his truck, claiming that victory at Martinsville. Rick, today you're looking for your second victory. What does that momentum do for you and the team coming off that?
It's big. Me and Gene Lee's been together. This will be our 3rd race, and we've clicked. I mean, he wants to win, I want to win, and that Circle Bar Motel and RB Park Ford F-150 is honking even this weekend too. So a little short practice this morning, but I think we're ready this afternoon, and could be 2 in a row.
Going off last year's points, you'll be starting from 7th. What's your plan of attack for today?
Well, you gotta take your time. Can't abuse the tires, but you got to be a little aggressive. So that's my style. So I'm looking forward to today's race.
All right, that's Rick Crawford. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and Dennis Setzer still waving to the fans here. Hey, you had a 2nd place at Martinsville, got the same truck back here, but how different are these two racetracks?
Well, quite a bit different. You know, Martinsville got opened up where there's a couple grooves, and initially on this track, we're going to be one groove. It's a real wide racetrack, a lot to work with right there, but yeah, we're going to start out one groove.
What do you think we're going to see? How tough is it going to be to pass?
It's going to be really tough, you know, till this thing opens up a little bit, but there's some good trucks starting back in the pack. Fortunately, we got a couple Silverados up front right there. We're excited about that, so we'll see how Chevrolet fares out to the end of the day.
Okay, he is tied for 3rd right now in the point standings as we get ready to go racing at Mansfield.
And let's take a look at the Ford top 10 point standings. Carl Edwards on top for the 2nd time this season. Travis Kvapil, last year's champion, currently in 2nd in the points. The biggest mover on the list is Rick Crawford. After his win at Martinsville, he moved 8 spots up to 7th position, and John Wood rounds out the top 10. Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. I'm Rick Allen, joined by Phil Parsons. Now, it's been 50 years since NASCAR has run a race in Ohio, but it's also been 4 weeks since the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has competed. Is it like we're starting another season right now?
The preseason is over. The 2004 season starts in earnest today. No more 4 weeks off. They're going to run almost every week from now until the end of November. What the 4 weeks has allowed these teams to do is to test their super speedway programs, because we've got Charlotte and Dover and Texas, great places like that coming up. So the 4 weeks off, they've done a lot of testing there. So right now, they got to get ready for Mansfield.
Well, and yesterday, with rain, we canceled practice and canceled qualifying. How big of an effect is that on them today?
Normally it would be, but as NASCAR usually does at a new venue, they allow the teams to come in a day early. They practiced for 6 hours on Friday with the computer telemetry on the trucks. They had a 30-minute practice this morning, which was mostly the scuffed tires, and they're ready.
Well, a couple guys that are out of the Hickory stables had a little bit of a grudge match about a week ago, and we're going to take a closer look at that when we come back. And welcome back to the UAW-GM Ohio 250 from Mansfield, Ohio. Let's take a look at the U.S. Army starting grid. On the pole, which he has opted to start on the outside, Jack Sprague. He started on the pole 21 other times. Dennis Setzer will now take the number 1 starting spot on the inside of the track. Ted Musgrave and Steve Park will make up row 2. They were 26th and 30th fastest in that practice Phil had mentioned earlier on Friday, so not too quick for those two. John Wood and Bobby Hamilton rounding out row 3.
There's our most recent winner, Rick Crawford, on the inside of row 4 in the Circle Bar Motel and RV Ford. Carl Edwards will go to the back, but he's already won 3 times in his career when he changed engines, so it's not that big a deal for Carl Edwards to change engines and move to the back.
Inside of row 7, Tina Gordon, the first of 3 females in this field. Just on her outside, Mark McFarland, the number 59, the National Dodge Weekly Series winner from a year ago. Terry McDonald in the 72 will be the second female. That's her 6th truck start.
Back in the inside of row number 11, Ricky Gonzalez makes his first career start. And Matt Crafton, the GM Goodrich Chevrolet on the outside of row 12. A lot of guys think he is the truck, one of the trucks to beat.
Row 13 shows Jeffrey Bodine, 55-year-old Jeffrey Bodine, making his 19th career start. And Kelly Sutton in the 02 is the 3rd female in our field today.
Look at these last 6 starters right here. Every one of these trucks is good. You have the Bang teammates, Travis Quapple and Mike Skinner. Because of the way the rain out of qualifying, all these good trucks at the back, they get in by virtue of being either a champion or this year's points. All good trucks moving their way to the front.
47 trucks tried to qualify for this event, and because of rain, we had to go by a point system, and the rule system of NASCAR had these 11 trucks going home, and so these are the trucks that missed the field for the first ever running of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in Ohio. Let's take a look at the Craftsman track description for this very short 0.44 mile oval.
Under a half-mile progressive banking from 12 degrees up to 16 degrees in the corners. Straightaways banked slightly, but very short straightaways, 545 feet each side, front and back.
Look at the Castrol race analysis. 36 trucks will be starting, 250 laps.
$440,000 purse. The pit window, that's up for much debate. A lot of drivers are talking about maybe making this on 1 pit stop, which that would be the pit window at about 130 to 150 laps. But if you're going to make 2 pit stops, you'll probably want to try to get your first set of tires on lap 50 to 75, and then probably 150 to 175. So that's really up in the air.
We'll be riding along with 4 different trucks. The 42 of Mike Skinner will carry our first onboard. He'll start in 32nd position.
Andy Houston starts the Team ASC Carquest Dodge back in the 8th position. Andy, long time we saw him so good at Hickory Motor Speedway over the years. Got beat by his brother in that match race, though.
Last month's winner from Martinsville, Rick Crawford, will carry our 3rd camera in the Circle Bar Motel and RV Park Ford. He'll start in 7th position.
Short track ace Dennis Setzer starts the Chevy Silverado, actually starting on the pole, which typically would be the pole. He's on the inside of the front row because Jack Sprague elected, as we talked about, to move to the outside. But Dennis Setzer, 2nd at Martinsville last time out on the short track, won 3 short track races last year. Always tough on short tracks.
Well, let's go down trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, Phil said something about the pit window, what you think it's going to be. A lot of guys told me they could make this race on 1 stop, but I don't think that's going to be the case because I think we're going to see a lot of crashes today. This field is separated by only 0.3 of a second from first back to 32nd. And look at this crowd in this track. These guys are fired up for short track racing, but I think we're going to see a lot of yellows flying today here at Mansfield.
And we watched practice on Friday, and Wayne Oughton even commended the drivers, saying you guys did a great job on Friday controlling your trucks. We didn't see a lot of banging and bumping going on Friday with test day, but as you mentioned, they had a lot of telemetry on their trucks. They were working on getting the truck set up.
They were really concentrating on their own truck. They're not worried that much about the competition. Right now, they've got 35 other competitors that they're going to be worried about in addition to their own trucks. So business is going to pick up right now.
And the Truck Series knows about bumping and banging. We've seen it at every small track we've ever gone to. This is another one in a long line of tracks that the Truck Series has initiated into NASCAR.
Yeah, this is a great facility here, too. Tremendous crowd. I mean, unbelievable. This race sold out weeks ago. These people in Ohio cannot wait to get the Craftsman Truck Series here to run this race, and they've got a great facility here at Mansfield to do it.
John Wood has done a great job in the short track program for Roush Racing, and we have more on him with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. John Wood just came on the radio and said he feels like his accelerator is stuck or there's some sort of a problem. He said it just didn't feel right, and he's really worried about the restart here. He said he wouldn't be surprised if he would lose 10 or 13 spots on the start of this race. So let's focus in on that 50 as we're about to get the green flag next time by.
John Wood starting on the inside of row 3, so we'll have to keep a look at that number 50. Bobby Hamilton will be on the outside of him. The Square D Dodge. And again, the 46 of Dennis Setzer will be on the inside. The 16 of Jack Sprague will be on the outside. Jack Sprague is officially our pole sitter. As they come out of turn number 4, we're about to get underway with the first NASCAR race in 50 years in Ohio.
Normally, Rick, everybody fights to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Most racetracks we go to, you want to be on the bottom. Right now, these guys are fighting to get to the top of the racetrack.
Jack Sprague making the right call, taking the top spot. On the start, he's out in front of Dennis Setzer. Steve Park tucked into third and trying to get into line. Ted Musgrave in the number 1.
Look at Carl Edwards right down the flat of the racetrack. You can see how flat it is down there. But when the trucks get bottled up like they have, he's been able to pass several trucks. He's right on the inside of Mike Skinner right now.
3 wide racing as they come out of turn number 4. And they always say 8 wheels are better than 4. Well, in some instances, 12 wheels are better than 4 as they've got 3 wide going through the corners.
Good look at Mike Skinner right there on the inside. You see Carl Edwards with the 99 Super Chip Sport right in front of him. Shelby Howard, the 23 Toyota on the outside.
Mike Skinner made the comment earlier that Jack Sprague and the gentleman up front were probably going to be running almost a half a second faster laps than they were going to be able to. Well, Jack Sprague has put a little bit of distance between himself and second place already. Wendy?
Well, in this morning's practice, Mike Skinner, he was loose for the first time this weekend. Crew chief Rick Wren says there's a problem. They checked the car, and they had a collapsed spring, so they made that spring change. And after that, he said, this truck is good enough to win. I'm usually not that confident, but I know we're going to make it to the front today.
Chris Wimmer with smoke coming out the back of the truck. I talked to that team earlier. They had smoke during the practice earlier. They said it was a loose oil line with a loose fixture on there, and so they decided that they were going to change all of those lines out, and it looks like they've got the same problem.
Sure does. What a tough break trying to make his first career Craftsman truck start. Tried to qualify at Martinsville, was not quite fast enough, but unfortunately, looks like it's going to be a very short day for Chris Wimmer.
Mark McFarland in the 59 on the inside of Brad Keselowski. And there's the story. Brad Keselowski was one of 5 rookies that were in the top 10, and problems with David Rudiman in the NTN number 17. NTN bearings number 17 getting spun around. And so Rudiman in turn number 2 having problems.
It doesn't look like he made contact with anything, but he is going to be a lap down. Our leader, Jack Sprague, was able to drive by him before, obviously, David got back going. I'm not sure. It looked like a very close call for Carl Edwards, too. It looked like Carl was right in the vicinity of David Rudiman.
And so the first caution comes out in Mansfield. We'll clear it all up when we come back. Caution number 1, David Rudiman getting spun around in turn number 2 on lap 8. Let's take a look at what happened.
Over in turn 3 and 4 where the accident happened. There you see, we don't see any contact from any other truck, but that was Carl Edwards that snuck by on the outside.
Carl right behind him, able to go on the high side of the track as Rudiman spins around in turn 2. Wendy?
Thanks, Rick. When I spoke to David Rudiman this morning, he said his biggest fear was to stay out of trouble. Starting in that 33rd position, he knew he had a lot of traffic to work through. We see what happened there. He did complain that he was loose through the center out. They came in, and they did not take any tires. It was only a wedge adjustment 2 rounds out. was back on the track. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Wendy, Shane Meal was 24 yesterday. It was his birthday. He started 17th today, but you'll notice he has a good bit of damage on the front end of that Earl Smalls Harley-Davidson Chevrolet. He has made some pretty significant contact with the number 59 of Mark McFarland, who's right in front of him. If we get a good shot of that, you'll see that he hit him pretty hard. What they're worried about on the 15 is that he may have pushed the screen in and blocked off one of the brake ducts. That could be a big problem later on during the day here at Mansfield.
And we see the damage to Mark McFarland's number 59. The bumper hanging off of that. How long will NASCAR let him go before they black flag him?
I think they probably need to bring him in there because I think that piece is going to come off, and that may necessitate another caution flag. So I'm sure NASCAR is watching our pictures right now and probably will decide to bring him on in.
Speaking of NASCAR, NASCAR officials wanted to say best wishes to Eugene Colvin, home recuperating. We're waiting for you to get back. Welcome back to Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. We're still under caution number 1. Happened on lap 8. Mark completed 8 laps under caution so far.
Green flag back out. Jack Sprague jumps out to a nice lead. You saw the 17 of David Ruderman, who is 1 lap down, started on the inside. Mark McFarland did make a pit stop when they just wanted to go to work on his truck. And when he restarted, he was in the back of the pack, a full half lap behind the leader, Jack Sprague. That's how small and tight this racetrack is.
Leaders lining up. Ted Musgrave chancing it down on the bottom of the track. Not many have decided to go down on the bottom. That's a battle for third. Ted Musgrave on the low side of Dennis Setzer. He slides back into position.
This is a great early run for Ted Musgrave. I talked to he and his crew chief, Sean Parker, this morning, and they were not happy with their truck. It was miserable on Friday. They made a lot of changes. The 30-minute practice has really helped them. They said they're not quite right, but he's pretty racy right now.
Andy Houston and Steve Park side by side for a while. Steve Park just out in front in 5th position. The Orleans Dodge has not performed up to what they had hoped that it would so far this season, and I'm sure that starting up front in the 4th position was really a blessing for Steve Park to hopefully get out there in front and running some clean lines. He's had some problems getting bottled up in problems early on the season.
He's been a magnet this year. It seems like everybody that's hit something on the racetrack is running the speed, unfortunately. He had a straight truck at Daytona and got taken out in an accident. Atlanta, he was trying to go for 5th or 6th position and got taken out by a truck hitting the outside wall, bouncing into him, and then he got run over and got a flat tire at Martinsville. So he's had a horrible luck so far this year. But Bobby Hamilton is a truck that's been good in each and every race this year, and today is no exception.
Well, another thing about these 2 trucks, Jack Sprague and Bobby Hamilton, are 2 drivers who have a little success at new tracks. When the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series goes to new tracks, Jack Sprague has 2 wins at those new tracks, as does Bobby Hamilton. And the most recent being Atlanta was a new track for us this year.
And Bobby's trying to overcome that.
Terry McDonald in the 72 gets spun around, and the field misses her as they go through turn 2. That's the 2nd time we've had a spin in turn number 2, and that brings out our 2nd caution. We had mentioned 3 females in the field. History for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Got Tina Gordon, Terry McDonald, and Kelly Sutton. So it's a great day for female race car drivers here at Mansfield. There you see right there, no female has ever had a top 10 finish in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Terry McDonald's best finish 26th at Loudon back in 02. Tina Gordon, I believe, has the highest finish in this field. 13th. She's done it twice. Nashville was the last time she did that.
I did it Charlotte earlier last year. There's a shot at Tina right there in the Microtel Chevrolet. That truck is owned by Duke Thorson, who's from Ohio. So that is some local flavor here. Probably the only Ohio-based team. Also a teammate to Tracy Hines in the 88 Menards Chevrolet.
There's the Copaxon 02 of Kelly Sutton, the 3rd female in the field. I
think David Ruderman is going to be the beneficiary of the free pass. He's Yeah, I think he's the first truck one lap down, so he will be put back on the lead lap.
We are under caution number 2. Let's take a look at the cause of that caution.
There's our leader, Jack Sprague, going underneath. Terry McDonald makes some contact with her left rear corner, and around she goes. Bobby Hamilton had a very close call getting by Terry.
And it looks as though you could see the smoke coming out on the left front tire, that 16, just before Terry spun around. It looked like he almost had to lock up the front wheels to get that thing to turn without hitting Terry.
Yeah, he was trying to avoid Terry. This thing, you come up so fast. This is a very fast, short racetrack. And when you come up on some slow trucks, you come up on them so fast that a lot of times they don't know how to react exactly which way to go when you're coming. You may commit to the bottom of the racetrack, and then they don't know that, and they'll turn like they're going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. So I think that was a situation where Terry was going to try to come off the bottom of the racetrack, go onto the bottom of the racetrack to exit the corner, and Jack had committed to the bottom of the racetrack, and that's why they made contact.
Andy Houston in the Team ASE Car Quest number 2. Caution number 2 is out at Mansfield. We'll be back with more racing action after this.
Welcome back as Speed Channel is live at Mansfield Motor Speedway. We have 30 laps complete, and I told you that they had a little bit of a problem with the 15 truck. Well, it's turned into a bigger problem. They have a big hole in the radiator for Shane Meals, so they are behind the wall here and working. Shane, I know you really wanted this one for Adam today.
Yeah, I don't know. Some reason everybody's it's the dumbest rule they ever made that you stop when the yellow comes out, because I mean, this tight racing, you can't stop that fast. And NASCAR calls this, and I hate it, but we'll be back.
Okay, and I was referring, of course, to Adam Petty, his very best friend, who passed away on May 12, 2000. They had hoped to win one today for Adam, but they're behind the wall. They'll put in a new radiator, and we'll be pretty soon going right back to green.
They continue to work on the 63 of Chris Wimmer. We saw smoke coming out from underneath the hood on that one. As they come out of turn number 4, we're back to racing in Mansfield. Jack Sprague has led all 32 laps run so far. Bobby Hamilton has moved up into the number 2 spot ahead of Dennis Setzer.
Ted Musgrave continues to try to work the bottom of the racetrack, trying to do something with Dennis Setzer, but it's a lot flatter down there. It's hard for these drivers to get a bite off the corner. You turn your truck down underneath them, but you can't quite get all the throttle down you need to be able to drive up beside them.
Now, some drivers have been diamonding this track. Others have tried to make it a very smooth run through the turns. Which one have you seen that has benefited so far?
Well, it all depends. If you have a clean racetrack like Jack Sprague has right now, you see him diamonding the racetrack. But when you do that, that leaves the bottom of the racetrack open in the center of the corner. So that allows Bobby Hamilton to drive up beside him, but he gets a better run off the corner by virtue of the fact he can drive straighter off the corner, and he has more room to move out to the wall. Bobby's going to continue to try to work the bottom of the racetrack, and he told me his truck was really good on the bottom of the racetrack. He got a good forward bite. That's the key, getting your truck turned in the center like Bobby just did and getting the power down on the inside of the racetrack.
Carl Edwards trying to move up through the field in the Super Chips 99. Currently 18th.
Carl's made some pretty good progress. He was all the way up to 25th on lap 7. Now he's trying to pass Jeffrey Bodine for the 17th position.
Carl Edwards, Jeffrey Bodine, and Dennis Setzer all came out here. You can't test at a track, or I'll rephrase that. You have limited numbers of testing that you can do in the truck series. But because this was a new track, they allowed us to test on Friday. But to get a little more track time, Carl Edwards, Jeff Bodine, and Dennis Setzer all came up here and ran a different model of vehicle. They ran late models here.
But you do learn about the characteristics of the racetrack. You do learn that the bottom of the racetrack is a little bit flatter, and it's a little bit harder to get a bite off the corner. So I think every lap you can run will help you. There's Matt Kraft in the 6 truck. He tested here the 88 truck last year because Duke Thorson, as we mentioned, is based in Ohio, so they came over here to do some short track testing before this racetrack was put on the schedule. So he has a little bit of local knowledge, but not much of it. But he's having a great run. He's already up to 10th. He started back in 24th. Polling the crew chiefs and drivers in the garage area, several drivers said they thought Max Crafton had one of the best trucks here at Mansfield.
And he looked very good in that practice on Friday as well as the practice this morning. Trying to go on the inside of the Spears Manufacturing 75 of David Starr. And Matt Crafton's one of those drivers who has not tried to diamond this track. He's really tried to keep a low line and stay very smooth through the corners, and it's really paid off for him.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He was one of the trucks that ran the lowest for the most part on Friday. Wendy, what do you have down there on Matt Crafton?
He's been pretty quiet on the radio. The only thing he came over and said was that the top lane is awesome. I talked to his crew chief, Wally, this morning, and he said he can pass on the bottom, he can pass down low, he's pretty pass up high as well. He's been pretty happy on all sides of the track, and he also said that they were going to be leading by lap 165. Let's see if that prediction plays out.
That's pretty bold.
That's a very bold prediction, but you can see Matt trying to work the bottom of the racetrack because David Starr is running right in the groove there, so he can't go above him, so he's going to have to try to make the pass on the inside of the racetrack, and he's having a difficult time doing it right now.
Here's another truck. We're on board with Mike Skinner. He started at the back of the field, currently running in 19th position, following the Super Chips 99 of Carl Edwards, who also started in the back because of an engine change. With more, Wendy.
Rick Red made an interesting comment when I asked him about this race at Mansfield. He said these next 7 races will separate the men from the boys. He said Mike Skinner has an awesome truck today. He's looking forward for this win. And he said on that last restart, he wasn't happy about the restart order, but Mike Skinner said, calm down, we'll get him. And they're looking for a win today.
Leaders have come into traffic. Jack Sprague still out in front as he reels in the slower traffic and begins to lap them now. And so David Rudiman was the only lap truck. He got the free pass, and now through attrition, Jack Sprague is beginning to lap the rest of the field. And so Ken Weaver falls a lap back in the 08 as Jack Sprague.
We're back here at Mansfield Motorsports Park, and there goes Travis Quappel leaving the pits. He came in for 4 tires, air pressure adjustment. They took 2 rounds out of the left rear, 1 round out of the right front. He was complaining they were tight through the center off. He said he was concerned with those other cars holding us up, but he thinks he's pretty good by himself. Guys?
Well, we're under our 3rd caution because of Kelly Sutton getting spun around in the Team Copaxson 02 on lap 50. Let's take a look at how that happened.
Kelly right there on the outside of the racetrack. Jack Sprague got into Kelly, got in the back of Kelly. So that's the 2nd lap truck that Jack Sprague has got into. There's another look. That's the 59 of Mark McFarland on the inside of the racetrack. Jack, again, came up on him so fast. You can see the black marks. He was trying to get woed again. He just entered these corners so fast here because there's so much grip on this racetrack that I think Jack just misjudged it and ran into the back of Kelly.
Now, there's been so much talk about drivers in NASCAR being too aggressive. Will NASCAR say, Jack, will they get on his radio and say, Jack, slow down or be more careful? Or what are you saying this is?
I think they probably would go to the crew chief, Chris Showalter, and say, hey, how about telling Jack just to calm down? We'll try to use the move over flag. We'll try to help him as much as we can, but he's going to have to, just be a little bit easier with the lap trucks right here.
And as I say that, obviously, tough trucks, tough drivers. Jack Sprague, one of the toughest in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, 3-time champion.
Jack has an incredible record in the Craftsman Truck Series. He runs in the top 10 almost 78% of every start he's ever run in the Craftsman Truck Series. This is his 176th start. Again, top 10 almost 78% of the time. Top 5 over 57% of the time. So he is the Truck Series as far as the man that holds all the records.
Well, tomorrow at 7 p.m., tune in to Speed Channel for Inside Nextel Cup. That's the show that examines all the racing action from the driver's seat. You can join Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, Johnny Benson, and host Alan Bestwick. Inside Nextel Cup tomorrow and every Monday night only on Speed Channel at 7 p.m. Ray, what's going on?
Well, guys, just wanted to give you a little update on the number 2 truck. Of course, he's made up a couple of spots out there on the racetrack, but Andy Houston has said, let's go ahead with our original game plan and figure this race being a one-stop race. So they want to put their best set of tires on the first pit stop when they come in. But here's the problem. They're not exactly sure what to do with the chassis because Andy is loose when he's in turn 1 and 2, but he's tight off of 3 and 4. So I'm thinking they're probably going to take a pound or maybe a half a pound out of that right rear tire. Just a little bit of an adjustment, but they do want to go with their best set of tires, thinking that this will be a one pit stop race.
This is the 100th start for Andy Houston in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He has 3 wins, but it's been a while since that last win.
Yeah, but he went to the Nextel Cup Series for a while, too. So Andy did not run the Truck Series for quite a while, but it's great to have him back in the series. One of the nicest guys in the garage area, and everyone loves having Andy Houston, and he's a very, very tough competitor, too.
Our producer, Keith D'Alessandro, thinks he's a pretty good golfer, too.
That's right. Keith's a good golfer.
Well, don't let it fool you. 58 of 250 laps have been completed. That would be a big win for Andy Houston if he could come on his 100th race and win this one. Mike Dolan pulls the pace truck into the infield. Jack Sprague continues to lead. He's led all of the laps here so far. Tina Gordon, the lap truck on the inside. That's the one female on the track that Jack Sprague has not spun so far.
We're pretty close to her right now, but I'm sure he's going to get a great start here. He does. He will clear Tina by the time he gets to turn 1.
So Jack Sprague and Bobby Hamilton 1 and 2 as they go down the back stretch. Dennis Setzer, Ted Musgrave, and Steve Park rounding out the top 5.
You know, Ray told us that Andy Houston is planning on making this move. Andy's way high in turn 4. You see Andy go by right there, that shot. Lost a number of positions.
Mike Skinner dicing through traffic right now on the inside of Jeffrey Bodine. Problems with the 2, as we were just talking about Andy Houston. He is slowing and off the pace. We will have to find out what is going on with the Team ASC Cars West Dodge.
He went way high the last time through turns 3 and 4, so he may have a lot of the debris on his tires, and it takes a couple laps for these trucks to get that stuff off the tires, but if he doesn't have a flat tire, so tough break for Andy Houston.
Trying to keep pace with the 17 of David Rudeman just in front of him. That MTN Bearings number 17 for Toyota coming in. David Rudeman's done a great job. Currently he's tied in 3rd in the points with Dennis Setzer.
One of only 2 drivers to be in the top 10 in each and every race this season of the 3 races we've had thus far. A great 3rd place finish and a pole at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the first time the Truck Series ever ran in Atlanta. You know, you would think we would come to a new racetrack like this that would put everybody on equal footing, and it does. But look at who we have up front. We've got Jack Sprague, Bobby Hamilton, Dennis Setzer, Ted Musgrave. So the cream always rises to the top.
Bobby Hamilton looks as though he's getting a little bit anxious, maybe to lead a few laps in Mansfield.
We heard Ray Dunlap tell us that Andy Houston was going to a 1 pit stop race. Well, that's because it appears that it's so difficult to pass here. You know, Travis Quapple was one of the only good trucks that pitted on that last caution flag, and he had already moved his way up into the 13th position from starting way back in 31st. But he's obviously going to have a 2-stop race because he's going to come in again another 100 laps or something like that. But it surprised me a little bit that Travis was one of the trucks that stopped so early since he was so good, but his progression had probably stalled when he got to 13th. The farther up you go, the better trucks you get to, and the harder it is to pass them.
And I talked to Travis just after practice, and he was very pleased with his truck. He thought his truck was running very well. As a matter of fact, Alex Meshkin, the owner of Bang Racing, and those 2 trucks, the 24 of Travis Quapple and the 42 of Mike Skinner, said that they were looking at Travis's truck because Mike Skinner seemed like he was just way off, and they had to figure out some way to get Mike Skinner caught up to where Travis was at.
Well, that's such an advantage. Oh, trouble over in turn 3.
Big crash, Tina Gordon, Terry McDonald, and it looks like the Goodyear 59 of Mark McFarland involved in that as well. Mark McFarland, the Goodyear 59 was the truck on the inside wall. That's Tina Gordon in the Vassarette Microtel Inn and Suites 13. And it looks like a little bit right front damage to the 59 of Mark McFarland. Let's take a look at what happened.
See them entering turn number 3 right here. Tina was way high on the racetrack and got a little bit loose, got sideways, and that just bottled up the field in front of them. You saw David Rudham in the 17 truck try to go between Terry and Tina, and Mark McFarland was against the inside wall there. See Tina on the outside of the racetrack in that orange truck. She turned sideways right in front of David Rudham, and actually, I wonder if there was something down there on the racetrack, because Terry McDonald turned sideways at the same time on the bottom of the racetrack.
Caution number 4 has come out at Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. We've completed 70 laps of racing of 250, and it's already been very exciting. Jack Sprague's up front. We'll come back. Watch racing. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series UAW-GM Ohio 250 live on Speed. As Ray Dunlap mentioned before the race even started, there could be a few crashes in this race, and we've seen 4 so far. This is our 4th caution as you see the work being done on the Team ASE CarQuest Dodge of Andy Houston. We talked to how he backed up. Ray, what's going on?
Well, Rick, like I told you, they did take a half a pound, or put a half a pound in the right rear, also went up on the track bar. What Andy had been saying there earlier was the fact that the truck just would not turn. It wanted to go straight every time it got to the center of the corner. So we're going to take a look at the tires down here in just a second, see if there was any problem. But so far, he said that he couldn't get her to turn. So this caution was a big break for Andy Houston.
We saw Andy come back in and put left side tires in. He actually has made 2 pit stops on this caution flag. And several of the crew members were looking underneath the truck like they thought maybe something had broken. Or sometimes we talked earlier about a collapsed spring. When you collapse the spring, then the handling will go completely out the window. So I know they were looking for some problem maybe underneath the bottom of that Team ASE CarQuest Dodge.
The 48 of Kevin Dowler making his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start will get the free pass. He was the highest 1 lap down vehicle. Kevin Dowler making his pass around now. He goes by Mike Dolan in the pace truck. Catch up to the back of the field. Rick Crawford currently in 7th position. Started in 7th. Hasn't moved around a lot.
That's David Starr, the Spears manufacturer, and Chevrolet right in front of him. David started back in the 10th position, so he's made a couple moves up towards the front. Steve Park was able to get by Ted Musgrave for the 4th position right before that caution flag came out. So a great run by the Orleans Dodge with Steve Park.
Jack Sprague, as we mentioned, out in front. Green flag will fly for Sprague. And we're back to racing in Mansfield. The sun is beginning to come out over this track. The 20,000 plus that are here in attendance are very appreciative of that. A little bit cooler the past 2 days in Ohio.
We had great weather here Friday for the practice stage, so when the sun coming out, it's going to warm up a little bit, and it'll be more reminiscent of how these drivers saw this track on Friday.
Riding on board with Mike Skinner, that Toyota Tundra. Currently in 11th position, just behind him, Brandon Witt, the number 38.
This is such a competitive season here. We have by far more good trucks in the Craftsman Truck Series this season than they have in the entire history of this series. Bobby Hamilton continues to try to make that move on the bottom of the racetrack on Jack Sprague and just cannot quite pull it off. There he goes again. Look at him. Tried to drive underneath him in the center of the corner. It's a little bit easier to do it off of turn 4. That's turn 2 right there. Now they're entering turn 3. Bobby has a little more luck driving up beside him off of turn 4, but still not quite enough to be able to make the pass.
Now, as far as Jack Sprague's plan for this race, do you think that he sat down with Chris Showalter and Dave Hughes and said, all right, let's try to do this on 1 stop?
I think so. And a lot of times you let the race dictate what you're going to do. If Jack Sprague was not able to hold,
problems with the 08 of Ken Weaver to get spun around in turn number 2. That's the 3rd truck we've seen spin in turn 2. And so Ken Weaver brings out caution number 5 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Getting back to Jack Sprague, if this was a situation where his truck handling wasn't exactly right, then I think he would probably have to stop and may have already stopped. But obviously he has a great truck. I think Bobby Hamilton right now has a little bit better truck because he's able to drive up beside him. If Bobby was in front, had clean air, I think he may be able to drive away a little bit. But right now, Jack Sprague's done a great job, has not made any mistakes, and has led every lap of the 81 we've run so far.
Let's take a look at why we're under caution number 5. Get Mike Dolan, or bringing the pace truck, the 08 of Ken Weaver spinning there.
Looks like Chad Chaff on the 18 Dickies Dodge might have made some contact with Ken Weaver.
Chapin was fastest this morning in practice, and his team owner, Bobby Hamilton, was second fastest, which we had talked about in that practice earlier this morning. And the philosophy starting up front, like a Jack Sprague or a Bobby Hamilton, has to be different than obviously a Mike Skinner or a Travis Quaffle starting in the back of the field.
Well, that's exactly right, but that's what surprised me about Travis Quaffle stopping, because he stayed out long enough to get all the way from back starting 31st up until the top 15. So that surprised me that he stopped that early after he'd passed so many trucks. What do you have down there, Ray Dunlap?
Well, Phil, the pits weren't open that last time by, so Jack Sprague had to stay out. Everybody on the radio so far has said, if Sprague comes, we're coming, and that looks like it's what's happening. You see that the 16 is coming down. We also see that Setzer and Bobby Hamilton, those guys are coming in. So as they go to the back pits, let's check in with Wendy.
Well, we were waiting also to see what the 62 was doing. They said, we're going to follow the leader. So you see they pull into the pit. He said we were a little loose early on, but the truck has been fairly decent for him. Johnny Allen was just waiting to see what the sun was going to do. You heard Phil Parsons talking about that. Johnny Allen was on the same page with you, Phil. He said he didn't want it to get it too tight, so they're not making any adjustments. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Wendy, Sprague gets his Chevy Silverado here. They started out on set number 4 of tires. They're putting on set number 3. They wanted to take 1 pound out of the left side. Sprague was just a little bit tied off, but so far he said it's pretty good. He will be the first off pit road, then Hamilton, then Setzer, just the way they came in.
Ray mentioned set 4, set 3. A lot of trucks during practice this morning tried to get all of their sets of tires scuffed. Jack Sprague was different. They didn't want to scuff any of them.
That's right. Bobby Hamilton did not scuff all his tires either, because they felt like the tires have been extremely consistent throughout this whole week. Again, they tried several sets on Friday, and they had a lot of consistency. Some of the other teams have felt like they did not have the consistency that they were looking for, that their truck would actually change a little bit from set to set. So that's why they scuffed their tires, and so they knew in advance if the truck was going to change when they changed tires.
And so Jack Sprague has led 82 of the laps in Mansfield so far. They have a great stop, and that team enjoying it. We'll be back with more racing. Welcome back. 3 laps of green have been run since we went away. Ted Musgrave, Brad Keselowski did not come in and pit, as we would have thought everyone would have followed the leader.
It's almost half and half. I was writing down the trucks that were pitting, and there were just as many trucks that stayed on the racetrack. What a great battle. Here's Bobby Hamilton. Again, Jack Sprague, Bobby Hamilton came in the pits 1-2. They came out of the pits together, but they're all the way back right now in the 13th and the 14th position.
Jack Sprague looks as though he was making a little room for himself as he went by the 8 of Chase Montgomery.
Mike Skinner right there, we're riding with him. Looks like we've got Dennis Setzer right in front of him, the Silverado Chevrolet.
Dennis trying to get by Chase Montgomery as well. And look at how close Bobby Hamilton was to Jack Sprague.
Whoa, contact right there.
Speaking of close,
Dennis and Chase Montgomery got together coming off that corner.
Now, is Dennis saying to Chase, hey, I'm over here? Or does Chase know it pretty well that Dennis is over there?
Oh, Chase knew it, and Dennis did not mean to hit him. That was just an inadvertent little shot right there. But Dennis is able to make the pass on Chase Montgomery. Again, it's not real easy for these drivers to make the pass on the bottom of the racetrack. Look at Bobby Hamilton. Look how far down he's going on the racetrack. They're both able to get by David Rudem in the 17 truck right now. See, Bobby now moves David a little bit up higher out of the way, so Bobby can use that banking. He needs to use that banking to get his truck turned and get in the throttle and get off the corner. Now Dennis is going to try to drive by David Rudem on the bottom of the racetrack, and they make some contact.
Side by side as they go past the start-finish line, Dennis Setzer getting by the 17 of David Rudiman. And Ken Weaver very hard into the wall in turn number 2, backs it in as you see the damage to the back of the 08.
See Shelby Howard, the 23 truck. He was involved along with Tracy Hines in the 88 truck. There's Tracy Hines, obviously a flat left front tire on the 88 of Tracy Hines. This is another truck that several crew chiefs and drivers in the garage area this morning said that 88 truck is really, really good. He is one of the guys to watch.
Now, the mystery of do I pit, do I not pit? Does Ted Musgrave have to come in now, and Brad Keselowski and some of the others that didn't come in earlier?
They certainly don't have to. These drivers can go at least 150, 60 laps before they need to stop for fuel. What do you have down there, Ray?
Just that, Phil, as we were wondering why Ted Musgrave might decide to stay out. He is 13th in points coming into this race. Remember, he finished 26th at Daytona. So I asked his crew chief, Sean Parker, why did you not pit? He said, I don't want to get tore up back there in the back. We can go a long way on fuel. We want to see if this race has some more attrition. We like leading. We like being out front. He said, we can go 150, 160 laps before we need to pit, so we're staying out.
Yeah, I think Sean and Ted Musgrave have obviously now they've made this a one pit stop race. If they're going to stay out here, we're at lap 100. They need to go about 50, 60 more laps. Then they make their pit stop. They have fresh tires, and then they're good to go to the end.
Sean Parker talking philosophy right now, probably with Ted Musgrave. We'll be back. More from Mansfield. Race 5 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series comes to you from Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina, on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Speed Channel will be there to cover the race from start to finish as the trucks kick off NASCAR's battle in their own backyard. Tough trucks, tough racing. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel. Hey, Speed Channel fans, or maybe they just wanted to get on TV and knew that if they put a Speed Channel banner together, they'd get on. Spectacular crowd in Mansfield, Ohio. Like we mentioned earlier, over 20,000 sold this event out over weeks ago. And Ted Musgrave again takes the green from Dennis James.
You know, the Ohio area is a tremendous racing area. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, just about 50 miles north of Ohio. Used to go to Toledo Speedway every Sunday night, but they've had so many races here. Sandusky Speedway, Sharon Speedway, Springfield, Ohio used to have a racetrack on the dirt, and just a tremendous area. And when you go to a lot of our races down south, you see a lot of license plates in the parking lot from Ohio.
And Mid-Ohio is just down the road, and you know, a great facility.
How about that red number 29 truck right there? Brad Keselowski, second ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, doing a terrific job. He's one of the trucks that stayed out, like Ted Musgrave, like Jeffrey Bodine. But what a tremendous job. And what a great family, also from the Michigan area. Ray, what do you have down there?
Well, Phil, same story as Ted Musgrave. They said they wanted to stay out till like lap 129, 140, something like that, for the number 29 truck. Remember, Brad is only 20 years old. Today he's driving a truck they call Super Droop. They ran it at Martinsville, but he tore the sides off it when he left pit road. They've done an awful lot of work to get this truck back together, and he's doing an excellent job in his second start. But they're going to go to like between 130, 140, something like that at least, before they pit.
He's hanging right in there with Ted Musgrave, so he's learning a lot right now. That's what Brad needs to do. He needs to follow these drivers like Ted Musgrave and learn from them so he's able to run this truck up front like he's doing right now. There's Terry Cook. He's having a great run. He's in the 4th position. Now, Terry is one of the drivers that has stopped for a pit stop. Wendy, how about Terry Cook?
Yeah, Phil, you were talking about Ohio native. Terry Cook, just down the road, 2 hours in Sylvania, Ohio. So he's looking to put on a good run for his hometown crowd. They pit on lap 53. That first round of pit stops, they did not make any changes. They only took 4 tires and fuel. He said the truck is handling real well. He's complimented that they have a good gear and they're really pulling off the corner. So he feels pretty confident that the truck is going to be running well. Guys?
And we just saw Jack Spring backing up as Bobby Hamilton and Dennis Setzer went by. Take a look back at that pass.
They got seized up right there. Jack got it in the back of Travis Quapple, the 24 truck. Now they're going to go down in turn number 1. Jack got a little bit
sideways.
sideways, got into the back of the 18 truck, and Bobby Hamilton and Dennis Setzer are able to drive by on the inside. That's the first time Jack Sprague has been passed all afternoon.
Caution comes out again at Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. Debris on the track this time. It looks like possibly, I see the name Goodyear. Mark McFarland, number 59, had some problems earlier. Look at that Dodge Dickies.
That's Chad Chapman. He was the one that Jack ran in the back of. That's obviously somebody stopped, it looks like, in front of Chad Chapman. Let's take another look and see what happened here. There's Chad, the blue truck right there, right in the middle of your screen. See Matt Crafton. Hank Parker checks up because he and Matt Crafton made contact. That's when Travis ran in the back of Chad Chapman, and then Jack ran in the back of Travis.
Started a chain reaction.
Some of the fiberglass from probably the nose piece off of Chad Chapman's truck.
Take a look at the onboard with Dennis Setzer.
Jack gets sideways there. That's after they'd already made the contact coming off turn number 4. When they get down to turn number 1, Jack got sideways, ran in the back of Chad Chapman, and Bobby and Dennis were able to drive by on the inside.
So that Dickies Dodge coming in to have some work done. Ray?
Rick, they were worried that they had busted the radiator, but Chad says the water temperature is holding, so he thought maybe they didn't. They're going to try to put the hood down there, pull off some of this front grill, and see if they can get back out. They don't know. I don't see any water pouring out so far, so they're talking about it here on the radio, whether or not they need to go. Yes, and they do need to go behind the wall, is what they said. Now, as far as the 2 truck, the number 2 of Andy Houston, they have decided that they think he has a bad right front shock on that thing. I told you earlier that his thing just wouldn't turn. Dennis Conner, his crew chief, originally thought that they had broken an axle, but now they've decided that it is a broken right front shock. So he's in the pits, and he'll lose a number of laps here.
Well, the 100th start for Andy Houston, not a good one. As the Team ASC CarQuest Dodge having problems.
Yeah, that pass we saw Jack Sprague get passed by Bobby Hamilton, Dennis Setzer right there. That could have severe ramifications for Jack Sprague at the end of this race, because as much as Bobby Hamilton has tried to get by him, he's not been able to. So that could be a race-winning pass.
And welcome back. We'd like to welcome our men and women in uniform serving around the world and watching today's race on AFN, the American Forces Network. We thank you for all that you do. We hope you're enjoying today's telecast wherever you are stationed. And remember, America stands behind you every step of the way.
You know, we talk about Bobby Hamilton, Dennis Setzer getting by Jack Sprague. Travis Quapple is in the 7th position, and he only pitted 10 laps before a lot of these other drivers, so he's in great position right now, but he's got a lot of damage to the front of his truck. He's right there behind Hank Parker. Look at all the damage to the front of that Showtime Toyota. He may have heating problems because it looks like the front end is completely closed off.
Well, Phil, remember last year, he missed 1 lap of the entire season last year, so that truck very rarely looked like that with Travis driving.
He's had 25 consecutive lead lap finishes coming into this race at Mansfield, Ohio. 25 in a row.
Amazing. Green flag flies again. Still out in front, the 1 of Ted Musgrave.
Jerry Cook, the 10 truck, has moved into 3rd position. Carl Edwards in 4th right now. Matt Crafton in 5th. The gray trucks are moving their way towards the front again.
Well, you think about that. Carl Edwards in 4th. Started at the back of the field because of another engine change. He was batting 1,000 for engine change and wins before Martinsville, but because they changed the motor in Martinsville and didn't win, his percentage has gone down a little bit, but not too much.
He pitted on lap 71 along with Travis Quapple, so they're on the exact same pit sequence right now, and he's 2-3 positions ahead of Travis Quapple.
Now, how much will that damage to Travis Quapple's front end, will that affect his handling of the truck?
Fortunately, this is one of the slower racetracks that we run, even though it's a very fast short half mile, but looks like that may damage the front of his front downforce as we see Bobby Hamilton right now driving up beside him. So this could be a big pass right here for Bobby Hamilton. I think Travis Waffle's truck is definitely crippled because of the damage to the front of that truck. He was complaining about being tight earlier. He's going to be nothing but tighter yet now with all that damage to the front of his truck.
So early on in this race, as we're coming up on the halfway point, Bobby Hamilton seems to have the truck to beat, the fastest truck out on the track, and he currently sits in 6th position, as there are a few trucks in front of him that have not pitted yet.
There's a good shot of Dennis Setzer trying to make his way by Travis Waffle. There's Jack Sprague, the 16 truck, right behind Dennis, and the Silverado Chevrolet on the inside. You see the gap right there. Bobby Hamilton was able to drive away from Travis Waffle once he got by him. So Travis is definitely crippled right now, not able to maintain the speed that he was earlier in the race.
And you mentioned this being a fairly fast short track. We have to tell folks that they're going upwards of 96, 97 miles an hour, averaging around this track.
Probably 115, 120 miles an hour on the straightaway. And as we saw earlier in the track description, the straightaway is only 500 and some feet long, and the trucks are getting up to probably 120 miles an hour.
Side by side, Jack Sprague. Oh! Chase Montgomery on the inside of Jack Sprague. They make contact, and Sprague again sideways through 1 and 2. Now you see Mike Skinner moving up past Chase Montgomery, and he keeps his sights set on the 16 of Jack Sprague.
Looks like Mike able to make the pass right there. You see Brad Keselowski, the 29 truck, losing a couple positions. Terry Cook at 10, and here comes Bobby Hamilton, the Square D Dodge, looking back on the bottom of the racetrack where he's been trying to work so often, wasn't able to do it to Jack Sprague until Jack Sprague got into trouble. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Phil, keep in mind, Bobby Hamilton has led all 3 races so far this year, just one of 2 drivers to do it. And he has said on the radio, I really need to get to the front. His crew chief, Danny Rollins, told him, don't worry about it because all those guys in front of you have got the pick coming up. But it looks like Hamilton is on the move, trying to pick away there at the 10 and the number 1. Wendy?
Well, thanks, Ray. Terry Cook has been moving up through the field. The last time he led was February in Daytona. He led 12 laps back then. And remember, his last win came in 2002, so he is hungry for a victory today. You're looking at a truck that does not even have a permanent crew chief. Filling in is Wes Ward. He is the Busch crew chief to Jason Keller. And Wes is doing double duty. He's crew chief for Jason Keller Friday night in the Busch race, and they finished 5th. So Wes is busy this weekend.
That truck owned by Greg Powers, the 10 truck of Terry Cook. This is their first foray into the Craftsman Truck Series. They've got a great truck set in the pole and a top 5 finish at Daytona. You know, what's big, we talked about Carl Edwards being in front of Bobby Hamilton. Well, not anymore. Bobby Hamilton was able to get by Carl Edwards. Let's see right now. Bobby's going to drive to the outside. Carl trying to get by Terry Cook, cannot quite get the adhesion on the bottom of the racetrack. Bobby uses the outside, which he's used so infrequently this entire race, and able to make the pass on Carl Edwards. Bobby Hamilton is the truck to beat.
Terry Cook trying to get by Ted Musgrave just about a lap ago. As Terry Cook is able to run a little bit lower line than Ted Musgrave, and Bobby Hamilton is able to run a little bit lower line than Terry Cook even runs.
You know, I'm not sure I agree with Danny Rollins. Terry Cook pitted back on lap number 52. He can probably go 200 laps with as many caution flags as we have had. So I'm not sure. Whoa! Contact here. Bobby Hamilton and Terry Cook. Look at Terry still trying to maintain control.
Looks like there might be problems with the number 10 as he cannot hold on to that number 10 going through the corners.
He and Bobby got together coming off turn or going in turn number 1 there. Really made some hard contact.
And look who's chasing right behind. That is Carl Edwards in the Super Chips 99, just waiting for his opportunity to get out front. And this is short track racing for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We see this every time we go to a short track.
That's why 20,000 people sold this race out several weeks ago, because they knew this was the kind of racing we were going to see here at Mansfield.
Here comes Bobby Hamilton on the inside. Terry Cook. Terry Cook closes the door as they go through the corner. Bobby Hamilton, one of the only trucks to run on the inside of that dark line on the low side of the track.
Here's what what happened moments ago between Bobby Hamilton and Terry Cook. You see him go down in turn number 1 here. Here they are right there. Terry's on the inside of Ted Musgrave. Bobby trying to go on the outside. Terry's going to try to get by the lap truck of Terry McDonald with 72. They make hard contact. Look at Terry completely sideways, driving into turn number 1, and never lost that position to Bobby Hamilton.
And we were talking about how aggressive Bobby Hamilton seems to be. Is he pushing too hard with the understanding that the guys in front of him have to pit?
I'm not sure the 10 truck's going to pit again. Remember, he pitted on lap 52. He's driving a Robert Yates-powered Ford. Fords typically get a little better fuel mileage. We've had so many caution laps. There's Bobby Hamilton able to make the pass right now, so it's a moot point as far as Bobby Hamilton is concerned. But I'm not sure that Terry Cook's going to pit again.
And how about Bobby Hamilton? Does he need to pit anymore?
Bobby Hamilton does not need to pit anymore. He pitted on lap 82. We know he can run 168 laps with the caution flags that we've had. Now he's going to take the lead, and he may drive away from this field.
Dodges side by side. Coming out of turn number 4, Bobby Hamilton will take the lead, and he is our third different leader in Mansfield.
Terry Cook going to follow Bobby Hamilton by. He's able to get by Ted Musgrave, as does Dennis Setzer. Now Carl Edwards trying to make the pass.
Carl Edwards with a strong truck. And again, we talked about the engine changes for that Roush team has been very beneficial for them. Carl Edwards started at the back of the field, and he's working his way up. We'll see if Carl Edwards is going to be able to get up and challenge Bobby Hamilton for the lead.
All these drivers with fresh tires are now able to pass Ted Musgrave.
So Bobby Hamilton tries to check out on the field. We'll check out for just a moment. Be back with more racing action from Mansfield.
Welcome back to Mansfield. We knew for sure that Ted Musgrave would be coming to the pits, but guess what? So did Bobby Hamilton, who had just decided to take the lead. Why did they decide to pit? Because they said Musgrave gets these fresh tires, and he's going to be better than us. If we get our second set of tires right now, we know we've got the best truck, and we can beat him. Bobby Hamilton will be the first truck off of pit road of the group that pitted. Musgrave got his 4 tires. We also saw a number of other trucks come down, including Rick Crawford and the 6 of Matt Crafton. So, guys, what do you think of this strategy, coming in for a 2-stop race, getting tires at this point of the juncture?
Ray, I thought Bobby Hamilton was all done pitting. He had the best truck, and Ted, if he would have stayed out, I think a lot of the other teams would have stayed out also, and he would have had so many trucks in between he and Ted Musgrave that I don't think Ted would have ever caught him. But who knows? Danny Rollins, they've been watching the computer, watching the times, and he made the call that he needed to make.
Bill, maybe they're not seeing the race that we're seeing right now because a lot of trucks are having a hard time moving through the field.
Now remember, we're under caution now. Right as we went to break, Joe Aramendi of the 31 truck spun. Now let's take a look at what happened to Joe. There he went way high up there, got up in the loose stuff, around he went. That brought off the caution flag. Let's take another look at it. See, there he is way up high in the loose marbles up there. A lot of the rubber and debris collects up at the top of the racetrack. Joe got up there, and around he went, could not maintain control. Around he went and brought so many trucks to pit road, so many trucks that I thought were not going to pit. We knew Musgrave was going to pit. We knew Brad Keselowski was going to pit, and Travis Quapple, who was having trouble. But we saw about 12 of the lead lap top trucks come in the pits right there. Really surprised me.
Trucks that didn't come in, the 10 of Terry Cook, the 46 of Dennis Setzer, and the 99 of Carl Edwards. Wendy, what have you got?
Well, Terry Cook is very happy with his truck. This is the first time he's led a lap since Daytona in February. He's actually joking with his team right now. He said, "What lap are we on? 247?" And Wes Ward came over and said, "Sorry, dude, you got a long way to go." But they are happy with their truck, and they're joking around. And I did not mention earlier, this is Wes Ward's first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. So he's doing pretty well on top of that pit box, guys.
Well, he's got a good driver to work with.
Sure does. Terry Cook is a great driver, 5-time winner in the Craftsman Truck Series. There's Wes right there. Had a great run at Richmond, as Wendy mentioned earlier. Jason Keller finished in the top 5. And there's Bobby Hamilton back in 15th position right now.
Let's take a look at Bobby Hamilton's progression throughout today. Again, Bobby started in the 6th position.
We thought at the time that might be the pass for the win of the race right here. Here's Bobby. Going to try to get by Terry Cook. There's Brad Keselowski, the 29 truck on the outside. There's Carl Edwards, the 99.
Bobby Hamilton's been strong, running on the low side of the track most of the day. He goes on the inside of Ted Musgrave and takes away the lead from Ted Musgrave. We are back to racing action, and Bobby Hamilton restarts in 15th position.
He has a great truck, but he saw how much trouble he had getting by Jack Sprague. He tried him for 100 laps on the bottom of the racetrack. He was only able to pass Jack when Jack got in trouble with some other trucks. And right now, Jack Sprague's in the 4th position. Bobby Hamilton's in 15th.
Bobby Hamilton's feeling confident that the new tires were going to help him enough to be the truck to beat coming into the race.
If I'm Dennis Setzer, who's running second right now to Terry Cook and Carl Edwards and Jack Sprague, I love seeing that 4 Square D Dodge go down pit road, because I said, hey, he's going to be having to fight his way through all this traffic. We've got fairly clean racetrack up here. We got less than 100 laps to go. They're loving it.
Four different trucks have led laps here. Jack Sprague with the most, 82 laps early on. Ted Musgrave led 59. Bobby Hamilton's led 6. And now Terry Cook adding on to the 8 that he's already led.
And Dennis Setzer wants to do something about that. He is working Terry Cook over. You never know when you're going to get an opportunity. Look at him. Try to drive to the inside. Again, just like Bobby Hamilton, not quite able to make that move on the inside coming off either turn 2 or turn 4. But look at Jack Sprague making the move on Carl Edwards right now. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, guys, what you were saying, Phil, is exactly right. That's what we've heard on the radio down here. All of those guys up on the front have said, our bet is made. We hope Hamilton has trouble getting through the pack. We're done pitting. We're going racing. No more pit stops for the number 10, 46, 16, or 99.
I would be surprised, Rick, to see anybody else pit, any of these trucks running up front. Maybe if you have a caution at the tail end of the lead lap and you have some tires to put on here. But any of these trucks up front, I would be shocked if they come on the pit road. I wouldn't. I know that.
Well, and that just shows you how competitive this series is, because guys do not want to lose track position because there's so many good trucks, they just can't get by them all in such a short period of time.
And because the tire Goodyear brought here is so good, these tires were not falling off in practice. These trucks would run with 140 or 50 laps on their tires within a tenth or two of what they could run on new tires.
Take a look at who's in 6th position. That 88 of Tracy Hines. Now, Tracy Hines won in a USAC midget race here a year ago. And so he has some experience winning here. And there goes Bobby Hamilton.
Here's Dennis Setzer again trying to get underneath of Terry Cook. Looked like he drove up beside him, was not able to get the power down coming off the corner. It's so hard to make a pass on the bottom of the racetrack if it's a good truck against a good truck. Now you can pass a slower truck. There's Bill Lester.
Lester spinning around on the back stretch, and that brings out caution number 9.
I think if I'm Terry Cook, I'm loving these caution flags because it allows my tires to cool off a little bit. I can cool my tires for these few laps under caution and then maybe hold off Dennis Setzer some more, because Dennis Setzer wants that lead.
Just over 80 laps remain in this race. We take a look at why the 9th caution flag is flown.
Bill was right in between Travis Quapple, Mike Skinner on the inside and another truck on the outside. I think it might have been John Wood. Got a little bit sideways, got turned around to the 360. Very little damage to that truck. Little cosmetic damage only.
So we're under caution number 9 at Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. Again, the first race in 50 years that NASCAR has seen in the state of Ohio. And it is going to be a great finish. When we come back, we'll get back to green flag racing.
Bill just got sideways coming off turn number 2. Mike Skinner was on the inside of him. Around he went, 360.
And we'll see that Bill Lester coming out of 2 gets sideways, but then on the inside, Mike Skinner actually gets into him and starts him the other direction, and we're going through 1 and 2 right now.
There's Matt Crafton on the outside in 6th truck. You see Bill just get sideways, Mike touches them just a little bit, gets them going back towards the outside wall, and just allows Bill to spin innocently down the straightaway without making any contact with either the inside or the outside wall. A little bit of cosmetic damage. That won't hurt that truck a bit. And he remained on the lead lap. But we've had some pit stops here on this caution flag. Was a little bit surprised. There's one right there. It looks like
Skinner.
Mike Skinner in the pits. Looks like he's pulling some sheet metal out where he got into the side of Bill Lester there.
Doing quite a bit of work there. 4 guys trying to pull the sheet metal away from the right front.
Steve Park also pitted. David Ruderman.
Kelly Sutton. Whoa, that was a little bit close. And so, some of the trucks have come in, but your leaders have stayed out. Terry Cook continues to lead at Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. Welcome back to the UAW-GM Ohio 250. That is the Showtime Line X number 24 of Travis Quaffle. This is something we did not see one time last year.
As you mentioned, Rick, only one unfinished lap in the entire 2003 season for our champion, Travis Quaffle. Now, that was a different team, but nonetheless, Travis Quaffle, a very consistent up-front runner out of the race.
Travis Quaffle is standing by with Wendy Norris. Wendy?
Travis, we do not see this from you. I just called you Mr. Consistency at the top of the show. I hope I didn't jinx you. What happened out there?
Well, I think it was a combination of events. I mean, the Showtime truck was running great. We all got together on the front straightaway, and I thought we were fine. I think we poked a hole in the radiator, pushed all the water out. It never ran hot. That's what kind of took me by surprise. I just started losing power for about the last 50 laps. We just couldn't go nowhere. But before that, truck was running great.
All right, Travis Quaffle, our defending champion of the today. Going great.
Terry Cook, Dennis Setzer, and Jack Sprague. Talk about a few veterans up front. Now, Jack Sprague has not been one to slow down if he wanted to get by somebody today.
Well, that was slow trucks. Now, these trucks are running just as fast as Jack can run, but he's going to see how hard it was and how much trouble Bobby Hamilton had trying to pass him on the bottom of the racetrack.
Rick Crawford trying to get by the 6 of Matt Crafton. They're currently running at 12 to 13.
David Starr up in the top 5 in the Spears Manufacturing Chevrolet, number 75.
David Starr's last win, Las Vegas in 2002. Let's go back down to trackside and Wendy Norris.
Well, we're still listening to Terry Cook's communication on the radio. He said, I'm worried about these trucks around me getting sideways. He's going to keep running in lines, though. He also came over the radio and said, you can't win a championship without bonus points. So he is already thinking the big picture, says Terry Cook.
I think Dennis Setzer's thinking, get out of my way, too. Did you see him getting right up behind the 10?
Yeah, Terry better stop worrying about bonus points and big pictures. He better watch a small picture out of his mirror. One Dennis Setzer.
Tim Weaver making it back out onto the track in the KW Racing 08.
Terry's doing a terrific job holding off Dennis Setzer. Terry has about 30 laps more on his tires than Dennis does, but look at Dennis. Oh, made a little contact. Dennis moving him up the hill a little bit.
There they go. Side by side, Dennis Setzer trying to make the pass complete. And Dennis Setzer will now lead at Mansfield, Ohio.
Jack Sprague trying to follow him through, not quite able to get the bite on the bottom of the racetrack to be able to do that. What a textbook short track pass by Dennis Setzer. Made just the slightest bit of contact, moved Terry up a little bit higher than he wanted to be, while Terry was regaining control. Dennis drove up beside him, drove by him.
Jack Sprague, I believe, was watching that move, and now would probably try to like to do the same thing that Dennis just did and get by the 10 of Terry Cook.
There's Bobby Hamilton. Remember, restarted back in about 15th position after he made his pit stop. Here he turns underneath Jeffrey Bodine. Bobby's only worked his way back up to the 9th position. We've got about 65 laps to go. Bobby needs to pass these trucks. How about Brandon Witt, that 38 truck, Rick?
Pure autism down, the number 38 of Brandon Witt. A great run for him. And right behind Bobby Hamilton in the 07 is Shane Sieg, also having a great run in that 07. Side-by-side battle. Jack Sprague making the pass on Terry Cook as they go across the start-finish line.
You get to a situation like that, Dennis Setzer starts to drive away. Then if you're Jack Sprague, you can feel like you can use the bumper a little bit on Terry Cook because it's obvious he's holding you up. He's letting Dennis Setzer drive away. So I'm sure Jack Sprague, ever so slight contact, moved him out of the way a little bit and able to make the pass.
Reeling in the 46 of Dennis Setzer. And this is the way the race started. Dennis Setzer actually had the number 1 starting position because Jack Sprague decided to start on the outside of row 1. And so this is the way the whole race started way back almost 190 laps ago.
So remember, they were side by side. Jack Sprague was in the preferred line on the outside, as he chose to do, and he was did not lead this race on the first lap. So even though Dennis Setzer technically sat on the pole or started from the pole, Jack Sprague led the first lap and so many laps thereafter.
And talk about two great racers. Most short track wins all time. You've got Jack Sprague at 10, Dennis Setzer at 7. Now, Dennis Setzer is also going for another record. If he wins here, will make it 7 consecutive years that he has won a race in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's never been done before.
But Jack Sprague's got something to say about that. A great run off of turn number 2 there. Side by side, but he can't get the power down again off of turn 4, and that's the easiest place to try to pass on the bottom of the racetrack. Could not quite do it.
Now, Jack Sprague has to remember how difficult it was for Bobby Hamilton to get by him. He's got to be frustrated thinking, okay, this is going to take some time. I've got just over 50 laps. I need to be patient and work on what could be one of the best short track drivers in the history of the Craftsman Truck Series.
And therein lies the problem. If he's going to wait for Dennis Setzer to make a mistake, he's going to have a long wait because it doesn't happen very often. But you never know what might happen in traffic. Dennis may decide to go to the outside of Terry McDonald right now. But if he moved up the racetrack, then Jack could get by on the inside. So Jack's got to be ready to pounce whenever he gets an opportunity to try to get his nose underneath Jack Sprague.
There's Bobby Hamilton making the pass on Carl Edwards. He takes over 6th position from Carl. And Bobby Hamilton continues to move up. Maybe that idea of pitting could pay off.
It's good. There's Brandon Witt trying to make the pass on Carl also. Got a slow truck on the inside, the 48. Not going to leave Brandon a lot of room. Carl's going to be able to pull back in front. Here we go, side by side again. A little contact.
A little more contact. Jack Sprague and Dennis Setzer side by side when they go across the start-finish line. And that time, Jack Sprague makes the pass, and he will again lead.
That was a patented slide job right there. He drove that truck down the corner, even got loose, wiggled as he got in there, but beat Dennis to the center of the corner. Now he may be able to drive away from Dennis Setzer.
Look at the 16 of Jack Sprague, putting distance between him and Dennis Setzer.
This IWX team struggled a little bit. You see 25th at Daytona with an accident, 24th with an ill-handling truck at Atlanta. They came back with a strong run in Martinsville, sat in the pole, finished 3rd, and they are awfully strong here.
Kelly Sutton spinning around the 0-2, bringing out caution number 10. We're just coming up to lap 200. That brings out our 10th caution of the day as Jack Sprague has taken over the top spot again. He's led 85 laps at Mansfield, Ohio. And this will now become a sprint.
Here's how Jack Sprague got the lead. He was able to drive up underneath Dennis coming off turn number 2. Made some contact through the corner, able to make the pass off turn 4.
Now what?
The pits with under 50 laps to go in this race, and Carl was up in, I believe, the 6th, 7th position. Ray?
Well, Rick, he was in 7th position, but he said he was very, very loose, and he said there was no way to advance forward, so they decided to go down a couple rounds on the track bar. He said, man, it seems awfully late in the racetrack in this race to pit, but Carl said we can't win the way we are, so let's try to make it a little bit better. So he will give up 7th position to put on tires and make a chassis adjustment.
Coming up in just 5 days will be our 5th race of the season. Will take place at Charlotte, North Carolina for the Lowe's Motor Speedway, the Infineon 200. Again, that's Friday evening, 8:30 p.m. Lowe's Motor Speedway, and that's race number 5. We're just finishing up race number 4.
We had three races in 3 months. Now we're going to have 2 races in 5 days. But, Rick, they're going to come in bunches from here on out.
Yeah. I believe we've got a broadcast partner that's going to compete in that race as well.
We sure do. Michael Waltrip, who's joined us for our first 3 races this year in the booth, and we'll be on the racetrack in the Chevy Silverado, and we'll have his older brother Darrell.
Well, you got to have a Waltrip in the booth at some point in time, I would think. So if you got a Waltrip on the track, you might as well have a Waltrip in the booth. So
that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
DW joins us to watch Brother Mikey, as well as 35 other great drivers in the Craftsman Truck Series. Ted Musgrave had a lot of success at Charlotte, winning that the first time they ran there.
Here's Wes Ward, another shot of Terry Cook's crew chief. Terry's still hanging in there in the 3rd position with more laps on his tires than all the rest of these guys. Bobby Hamilton has worked his way up in the 6th position, but they're going to get harder to pass as he gets there.
Craftsman continues to lead the field as far as tools go. And let's take a look at the Craftsman Tool Tech.
Craftsman first introduced the quick-release ratchet all the way back in 1966. And we've been using these things in the garage area forever. But one of the problems with the old-style ratchet was that dirt and grime could get inside where the gears are. They've now released a brand-new model that eliminates that. Here's what I really like. On the old-style model, you could get in pretty tight with your work surface, but check out how much closer you can get on the new style. And what I think is really great, the old handle was good, the new handle's a lot better. This teardrop shape fits really great in your hand.
I think Ray's learning a lot about tools through the Craftsman Tool Tech.
And he's got a lot of tools to put in his toolbox, it appears.
We could take care of a few of those for him. Wendy, what's going on?
Well, just to give you an update on Tracy Hines, he's running 5th right now. Talked to crew chief Jerry Cook. He said, we're good to the end. We're not planning on pitting anymore. The truck has been a little tight off. It's rolling over on the right rear. Tracy came over the radio and said, if I get any more up on the wheel, I'll be on the left front tire. So he's joking around with his team. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Wendy, want to give a big shout-out to the number 88 of Tracy Hines. I know the guys in the booth have mentioned him a couple of times. He has yet to post a top 10 finish in his Craftsman Truck Series career, but I think he'll get it today for a couple of reasons. He's great on half-mile racetracks, and also a guy that works at their shop is named Jack Smith. Jack Smith is a fabricator at the Thor Sport Racing team, and he is the track champion late model driver right here at Mansfield Speedway. He knows a lot about this racetrack, and he's helped Tracy Hines learn a lot about it. These guys have been awfully good here, and remember, he started at the very back of the field, and Hines is up in the top 5.
Remember, we talked about having 4 weeks off since our last race. Tracy's crew chief, Jerry Cook, has won a race at Flat Rock, Michigan, and Toledo, Ohio since we've been off.
Dennis James gives us the green flag. Jack Sprague jumps back out in front of Dennis Setzer. So a great start for Jack Sprague. Terry Cook trying to get around the 03 of Jeffrey Bodine.
41 laps to go here now. I'm telling you, Bobby Hamilton is still mired back in the 6th position, and these are all great. Just put rookies on the outside of Tracy Hines. If he can make that pass, that's one more notch. I think he'll be able to do it because he is in the preferred line right now on the outside of the racetrack.
We normally see Bobby Hamilton running on the high side of tracks.
And he's the guy that's been trying to run the bottom of the racetrack this entire race. He He's able to make the pass on Tracy. Now he's going after David Starr, who's running in the 4th position.
As surprised as we were when Bobby Hamilton gave up track position to come in to put on 4 new tires, I think we're almost as surprised that he's been able to get up front.
I really am surprised that he's been able to work his way this close to the front. There he is on the bottom of the racetrack. That's the move he tried to put on Jack Sprague so many times. It didn't work again that time on David Starr.
Now, our patience out the window as far as 38 laps to go?
Absolutely. Bobby Hamilton knows that if he's going to get back to the front of this field, he's going to have to make the move, and he's going to have to do it quick. But I talked to him before the race. He said, hey, we would love to win a race, but I want to get me another top 5 and get on out of here and get to Charlotte. So, but he doesn't look like he's satisfied with just a top 5 finish right now.
He's got a great run on David Starr now as he's on the inside. Coming out of turn 4, down the front stretch they go, and Bobby Hamilton makes the pass and moves ahead of David Starr.
Puts him up to 4th now. He's got Terry Cook, Dennis Setzer, and Jack Sprague left in front of him. Well, remember, there's John Wood and Rick Crawford running side by side. That's for the 11th position right there. But remember how hard it was for Bobby Hamilton to try to get by Jack Sprague. Never did pass Jack Sprague on the racetrack until Jack had some trouble with some other trucks. So if he makes his way up to Jack Sprague, he's still going to have a hard time getting by him.
A little bit of distance between Bobby Hamilton and Terry Cook. Terry Cook in 3rd. Jack Sprague holding down the number 1 spot right now. Dennis Setzer in 2nd. Wendy?
Well, I'm still down here in the 10 pit, and I have a question for Phil Parsons. Phil, Terry Cook came over the radio, and he's complaining of his engine vapor locking in the corners. What kind of concern should he have at this point?
Well, it's been so long since he pitted. He's pitted, gosh, almost 170 laps ago. I've talked to a lot of the crew chiefs, and they never even bothered to worry about fuel mileage because they felt like this was going to be more of a tire situation than a fuel situation. So it may be a situation that his fuel could be getting away from the pickup a little bit in the corner. So I think he has major cause for concern, especially if that doesn't clear up.
Well, he's got other concerns too. Ray, what's going on?
Hey, Rick, fuel mileage may be an issue for the guys out front. I have heard both at the 16 truck and at the 46 that they're going to be very tight on fuel. They pitted on lap 83. Now, with all these caution laps, they should be okay. But if we were to get a green-white checkered at the end, it's going to be very close for Sprague and Setzer whether they can go the distance.
And the other thing that they've got to think about, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series does not end under caution. We have a green-white checkered finish. And a caution has come back out. Bill Lester has spun around in turn 2.
Well, that's going to help these guys. That's going to be a little bit more fuel they're going to have. They don't burn as much fuel on the caution laps as they do on the green flag laps. So each one of those guys that may be a little bit close on fuel mileage loves to see that caution flag.
29 laps to go. We won't see any leaders coming in. We're going to take a short break and come back for the conclusion of the UAW-GM Ohio 250 live on Speed.
Every one of these caution laps that we run right now is one less lap that Bobby Hamilton has to try to get by the 3 trucks in front of him right now to try to get back to the front of this race.
Well, let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR in our Nextel Cup update. Before we move on to Charlotte, we've got to finish race number 4 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and it is building up to be another great race in this series. Jack Sprague, 3-time series champion. Dennis Setzer, so close a year ago to winning his first series championship. Terry Cook, 5-time winner. Bobby Hamilton has won 5 times in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Those recently at Atlanta.
That's right.
And another new racetrack, another new venue for the Craftsman Truck Series. A lot of wins up in the top 4 positions right there. 23-time winner Jack Sprague trying to get number 24 here at Mansfield, Ohio.
Ray?
1 to go. Chris Showalter, how worried are you about Bobby Hamilton getting up there to battle with your driver? Actually, I wish the clouds come back out because we're a little bit better. But we gambled a little bit with our Chevy truck Silverado today. We did the one-stop pit. He's coming about 10th and a half a lap. So actually, I think I want it to go green because he's going to have trouble getting by Dennis and whoever's third. I'm not even sure who's third, but we'll be okay. You worried about fuel at all? Nah, we're plenty good on fuel. We're good by about 25 laps. Oh, okay. Well, they're messing with me down here then. No fuel issue. Lots of it. Wendy?
Well, I'm caught up with crew chief Wes Florida, Terry Cook. Wes, you guys were having an issue with vapor locking of the engine. Is that still a problem?
I couldn't hear you, but I think we're going to make it to the end. We got overdrive transmission in this thing, and we calculated the fuel mileage off high gear, and we hadn't been running high gear. We've been turning about 300 more RPM, so it's going to be close, but I think we can make it. This Power Stroke Diesel International has been doing awesome tonight. Terry's doing a great job. This whole crew, I'm proud of all of them, but we'll see what happens here.
All right, Wes Ford making his calls for the first time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Let's go back up to you guys.
Coming out of turn 4, Jack Sprague sets the pace. The green flag flies, and we're back underway. 22 laps remaining.
Jack has been getting a great restart. Every time he's been out front, he's been getting a terrific restart. He got about 2-3 truck lengths that time on Dennis. Jeffrey Bodine, a lap truck to 0-3, made an unscheduled pit stop. He has got in between Dennis Setzer and Terry Cook.
Terry Cook just out in front of Bobby Hamilton, and again, Bill Lester spinning and problems, a hard hit. Joe Armendia involved in Chase Montgomery in the 8th, having problems on the backstretch.
Caution flags, breed caution flags, and looked like Bill had some contact from behind, got turned around, left him in the middle of the racetrack, and these trucks are going so fast down that backstretch, some hard contact.
We see Joe Armendia moving around, taking the steering wheel off.
Looks like Bill's moving around there too. You can see his head bobbing around inside the truck right there.
Disappointed, very frustrated, getting spun around, and then the cars or trucks coming up behind him, and you see the massive damage to the 8 of Chase Montgomery.
He's moving around also in the truck, so that's a great sign. This was really reminiscent of the crash we had at Atlanta with Tina Gordon, Hank Parker Jr., and Rick Crawford. A truck sitting almost stationary in the backstretch, and these trucks coming along at probably 90 to 100 miles an hour and running into them, making some hard contact.
Steve Park in the 62.
A victim
again.
For the 4th consecutive race, Steve Park has been run into on this racetrack.
Let's take another look at how our 12th caution has come out today in Ohio.
I think Bill Lester's going to got a little help getting turned around there. He wasn't quite able to keep it on the bottom of the racetrack. Look, they're 3-4 wide there. Carl tried to avoid him, and 2 trucks had nowhere to go. The 31 of Joe Armendia looked like Chase Montgomery in the 8 truck had nowhere to go, ran into the side of him. There's Steve there. That's the 78 of Charlie Bradbury. Turn around, and Steve, again, nowhere to go, a victim of circumstances.
Unbelievable, the luck of the Orleans 62.
See another look there. Looks like maybe Brandon Witt might have gotten the back of Bill, turned him around a little bit. Bill tries to keep the truck down on the bottom of the racetrack and did a pretty good job, but they were 3 and 4 wide coming off of turn 2 there, because the trucks that saw Bill spin backed off, and that just allowed all the trucks to just get jumbled up there in a big pile.
You remember Sean Parker making the comment earlier to Ted Musgrave, we don't want to be in the back because we don't want to get caught in something like this. And so the red flag has come out as the safety crews are attending to the problems on the backstretch.
There's quite a bit of debris on the backstretch there because there's so many trucks that made some hard contact with each other. So they need to take time, clean the racetrack up. We want no flat tires, so we have a good almost 20 laps of good hard green flag racing for the win.
Here are the trucks that were involved in this one. Chase Montgomery, Bill Lester again spinning out of turn 2, coming to a stop, and then nowhere to go for Chase Montgomery and Joe Armendia. Steve Park and Charlie Bradbury getting caught up in this as well. Ray?
Well, Rick, I'm down here with crew chief Danny Rollins, crew chief for Bobby Hamilton. You guys pitted at lap 150. I was a little bit surprised. Did you know that Bobby was going to be able to get back up through this traffic?
Well, I mean, I got faith in Bobby. You know, the Squirty Dodge running pretty good today. We had some tire issue yesterday in practice, so I just wanted to make sure we're going to have it again. So good thing we did. We were showing a little bit of blister on the right front, so there ain't no way we could have made it all the way. So.
Got enough time to win it?
I think so. I'd probably bet a little bit on it.
Okay. Well, he's got faith in his driver, like he said. Wendy?
Well, we're trying to check in with crew chief Danny Gill in the 46 foot, but actually, guys, he's taken off. I think he went to go find some things up on the back side of the track. So when we see Danny Gill, we'll let you know.
Well, Danny Gill might be doing the same thing Gene Need did from last short track race, and they ended up winning. So maybe Danny Gill's walking off to try to stay away from people.
I don't know what he's looking for because he's not going to make any more pit stops.
Yeah.
So all he can do is hope that Dennis is able to get by Jack Sprague for the win. But they've had a great run all day. Jack Sprague, Dennis Setzer, Terry Cook's done a terrific job with the oldest tires in the field right now. And that's one of his crew guys right there, one of Danny Gill's crew guys.
Yeah, we've found Gene Need before. We can find Danny Gill. Don't worry. And by the way, it's a smaller track than Martinsville, so we'll keep our eye out for him. But let's get you caught up on what has taken place today. Again, this is the first time the Craftsman Truck Series has ever been to Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. We've had 12 cautions. This is our 12th. Ray, what's going on?
Well, we want to take a real close look at the number 16 truck, guys. If you can get a camera on that and zoom in there and check on his tires, because Jack Sprague just said on the radio a moment ago, on that last restart, he was extremely loose off of the corner. So they're wondering whether or not there's a chance that they may be losing air pressure on a tire on the 16 because he was so doggone loose coming off. This red flag is certainly not going to help him.
Yeah, the sun's popped out too, so the track temperature has gone up, so that would probably make these trucks a lot looser than they have been. I know they were loose this morning, a lot looser than they were last Friday with a green racetrack. But as somebody was telling us earlier, they hoped the clouds would come back because the truck did better in a cloudy condition, but the sun is out again right now.
And as Ray predicted before the race started, there was going to be accidents at this track. And so far we've had 12 cautions come out. Let's take a look at some of those cautions. The first one, David Rudeman getting to come out, and then Bill Lester again spinning around and bringing out the red flag this time because more trucks were caught up in that caution. Wendy?
Well, we did find Danny Gill finally. Danny, where did you go on this red flag?
I just went over on the back straightaway, checked, make sure everybody was okay. Maybe make a deal or two with somebody out there. I tell you what, Team Chevrolet has come in here and done what they need to do. We've really been working together the past couple of months. They've hired engineers, they've hired shock specialists. Chevrolet's doing everything they can to make Silverado what it is, the best truck. It's been like a rock all day.
Dennis Setzer's a good driver to have at this short track. Do you have what it takes to win today?
Well, we were running Jack back down there a little bit. He might be getting a little tight in the center. It's going to be a good race to the end. We'll focus on the big picture here, make sure we at least have them two Chevrolets come across start-finish line. Hopefully 46 will be first.
How has the sun affected your truck when the sun came out about 50, 70 laps ago?
That's been the big problem. We had a really good truck there in the early part of the race, and, you know, we based our pit strategy on cloudy conditions, and as that sun's come out, the track's lost a lot of grip, and we've hurt the left rear tire now, spinning the tire up off the corner. That RCR horsepower is something else that's really hard to hook up.
All right, that's Danny Gill. Let me know who else I need to wrestle down over here in the pits, guys.
Well, Wendy Norris has done a great job of finding Danny Gill. And those of you tuning in for the AMA Superbike from Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama, don't worry, you're not going to miss any of the action. They'll wait for the conclusion of this race before they get underway. So we're under 20 laps to go in this one. We'll be getting underway as soon as they get the track cleaned up. But don't worry about any miss or any action being missed in that AMA Superbike race from Birmingham, Alabama. We'll bring that to you live as soon as this race is concluded. We are under red flag conditions at lap 231, and this is why. Welcome back to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series live on speed. We are under red flag conditions. The 12th caution came out at lap 230, and that was because Bill Lester got spun around coming out of turn number 2, and a few other trucks were caught up in that. Let's take a look at this caution. Bill Lester in the 22 on the inside of the track gets sideways.
Gets really pushed around by Brendan Witt. Tries to keep down, but they get 3-4 wide behind him, Trucks trying to go everywhere, just trying to avoid this situation, and some hard contact from Joe Aramendia and Chase Montgomery.
Like you mentioned, on the straightaways, these trucks are getting upwards of 115, 120 miles an hour.
There's a contact right there. They're trying to stay on the bottom of the racetrack, and the truck just eases up a little bit. But again, by this time, they're 3-4 wide, just trying to avoid him because of the trucks that saw it originally slowing down. So that just allowed the trucks behind him to get beside those trucks, so that made it 3-4 wide. And this racetrack is not all that wide.
No, and the luck of the Orleans 62 and the Orleans casino, obviously hoping for, you know, luck as far as with the casino business, but they have, in the racing business, have had no luck this year because Steve Park just caught up in another incident.
You know, last year with Brendan Gaughan, they hardly had any bad luck until the very final race at Homestead when they got taken out in an accident, not of their making, as they were the point leader coming in. They had hardly any bad luck. But here they are this year, and poor Steve can't catch a break for anything. He's run well in each and every race and has no good finishes to show for it, hardly.
Steve Park started in the, I believe, 4th position because of points and getting caught up in this last accident, and so they are out of the race. Wendy?
Well, we were sitting here with Wally Rogers, crew chief of Matt Crafton. Actually, funny story, Matt just called Wally on the radio, and he said, hold on, guys, I'm going to keep my radio off. I'm doing an interview.
Yeah, you know, it's been a while since we've got an interview, but, you know, the GM Goodwrench Silverado's been real good all day. We were a little free. Once that sun came out, it kind of hurt us. A little bit starting in the back, so we kind of had to play a little different strategy. If I'd have got him right on that first stop, you know, we could have probably stayed out and made it the rest of the way, but it still wasn't good enough, and we really wanted to win this race bad.
You said 8th. Are you trying for a top 5 at least?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a top 5 is achievable. I mean, it's kind of up to Matt right now. It depends upon how bad he wants it.
All right, that's Wally Rogers. Let's go to our Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Wendy. And Chase Montgomery has come out of the infield care center. Man, what a hit you had out there. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Car's hurt. It's unfortunate. I mean, because we've got about 10 guys out there racing smart and then another 30-something idiots. So, yeah, I mean, it just happens. We're short track racing, and we're 3-4 wide coming off of 2, and that's just not what you do at a half-mile racetrack. But, you know, it's unfortunate. We were in position to move up in some points, but yeah, we'll just go to Charlotte and get them there.
Okay, the Spitzer Dodge is slammed. They are out of the race, and hopefully Steve Park will be out here soon. We'll check in with him. But it sounds like the trucks are firing back up, so we may be losing the red flag here, guys.
Mike Dolan positioned in front of Jack Sprague, and they begin to roll down the backstretch ever so slowly. Those of you tuned in for the AMA Superbike race from Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama, you're going to receive a bonus. You're going to watch the end of a great Craftsman Truck Series race, and you're not going to miss a second of the AMA Superbike race in Birmingham, Alabama. That will be shown to you in its entirety at the conclusion of this race.
Terrific drama here in the Craftsman Truck Series. We've got Jack Sprague, who led so much of this race. Bobby Hamilton seemed to have the dominant truck, but he's mired right now back and forth. He's got Dennis Setzer in 2nd, Terry Cook in 3rd right behind him. David Starr, great run in 5th. Tracy Hines could be a career best finish for him right now, currently in 6th, along with Brandon Witt, who's in 7th, which would be his best career finish.
Ray, what's going on?
Steve Park has come out of the infield care center. Steve, I'll tell you what, I've said the if it ain't for bad luck song before, but man, this has certainly been your season.
I tell you what, man, I don't know what I need to do to get our luck turned around a little bit, but the Orleans Dodge was running great. I mean, we pitted early for tires. We were right on schedule. The truck was handling great, and you know, every time the caution comes out, they keep putting lap cars up on the inside. And when it gets late in the race like that, guys are pushing hard to get to the front, and they're splitting people 3 wide, and you know, we get a melee like we saw there in the back. So just want to thank the Orleans Dodge, Jeff Weiler himself. He's here today. Will Roeder and their whole association with us here in Ohio, and Mansfield Motorsports Park. They've done a fantastic job for us to come here and race for the first time. And I was impressed with the racetrack. Just didn't want to end like this. So I know Mr. Collins at home. Just want to say hello to him, and we're sorry this had happened.
Okay, good luck at Charlotte. Steve Park, also another truck that's out of the race.
Thursday at 7 p.m. on Speed Channel. Tune in to Chop Cut rebuild. A hands-on look at the world of auto restoration and customizing. Each episode follows the journey of 4 unique vehicles from barnyard strays to showroom queens. Thursday at 7 p.m. only on Speed Channel.
There aren't too many showroom queens out here on this racetrack right now.
Not anymore.
There's been a lot of beating and banging and rubbing on this racetrack. Hardly anybody is exempt. Wendy, who do you have down there?
Well, Jerry Cook, crew chief for Tracy Hines. What has Tracy been saying on the radio?
Well, we got run into on a caution earlier, got a left front flat, knocked the toe out a little bit. The thing's been tight all race. And with that rated out qualifying and all, we started 36, kind of been fighting track position all day. It's been our enemy, but we got ourselves committed to staying out there right now. Toes out a little bit. We're out, some pretty used tires, but Tracy's been on the wheel all day, hasn't given up on us. And sitting 6, I think we still got a shot at the top 5.
What did he say during that red flag?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, what did he say during the red flag about the restart?
He's a little nervous. I mean, we got some trucks behind us on fresher tires. He was wanting to go, single file restart there after 10 to go, but looks like we're going to have a double file restart here, but he'll hang tough. We'll be fine.
Okay, let's go to Rick Allen.
Well, thank you, Wendy. Jack Sprague, Dennis Setzer, Terry Cook, and the also quick Bobby Hamilton sitting in 4th in the Square D number 4.
Bobby Hamilton sitting in that Square D Dodge right now saying, I need laps. Give us 1 to go so we can go back to racing. We don't need to run around under these caution laps. I've got to get racing, try to pass these trucks.
This race has been so exciting, but I think what's even better is that we've had over 20,000 people be able to witness this in person here at Mansfield. And what a spectacular facility they put together.
And not one of these 20,000 people has left yet. Because there's a lot of fireworks yet to happen here, but Mansfield Speedway, all the officials here have done a terrific job. The first time you expect to have some growing pains, but I haven't seen any of that. The surface has been great. The garage area was terrific, the pits, and all these fans are still right here. And I think they'll be here next year, too.
Oh, I think so, too. And you see the overspill on the grass. You've seen this at racetracks that you've run at, Bill.
Well, Bristol Motor Speedway has 160,000 seats. Well, it hasn't always had 160,000 seats. We used to sit on the dirt bank in turn 1 and watch a lot of the races. We would, if I was running the Nextel Cup Series, I would watch the support races or whatever. But now it's 162,000 seats around here, and I have a feeling we sold 20,000 seats for this race so quickly. When we come back, there's going to be more seats here.
Well, I would say they ought to just double it. Make it 40,000 seats.
I think
see how we do then. Yeah, I think it's been spectacular. They've come from all around Ohio and neighboring states to see just a great race in Mansfield, Ohio. And again, a reminder, those of you tuning in for the AMA Superbike race from Barber Motorsports Park, that will be shown in its entirety at the conclusion of this race. We are with 250 laps, we're under 13 laps to go.
We're going to get 1 to go next time by, so we will have about 11 laps of hopefully green flag racing. And as Ray mentioned earlier, we do not finish under caution in the Craftsman Truck Series. This race will finish under green.
So the fans that have shown up today will see a fantastic finish.
Andy Houston is going to get the free pass. This is probably about the last free pass we're going to get, because you do not get a free pass in the last 10 laps. So that puts Andy back on the lead lap after all that trouble he had that change of bad shock. He's now back on the lead lap in the 20th position.
And we had talked about Steve Park's bad luck. Andy Houston making his 100th start in the Truck Series did not have the luck that he was hoping for today.
Getting ready for this restart here. A very, very critical restart for Jack Sprague. He's been so good on these restarts. He's got at least a 2-3 truck advantage each time on the restart. Let's see if he can do that. And he needs to clear Jeffrey Bodine, who is the first truck laps down on the inside of the racetrack. He needs to be able to clear him.
Green flag flies, 11 laps to go.
Jack was able to clear Jeffrey Bodine. Here comes Dennis Setzer now. He's able to clear him. Brandon Witt, trouble on Brandon Witt. He was up in the 7th position. He's falling back now, lost several positions.
I believe Brandon Witt scraped the wall. We stay green. Jack Sprague stays out front. Dennis Setzer tries to reel him in. Terry Cook in third. Bobby Hamilton can get by the 10. And he has under 10 laps of racing to go.
Bobby's trying to work the bottom of the racetrack again, just like he did for the entire first third of this race on Jack Sprague, but not able to do it yet. Bobby Hamilton's got better tires than Terry Cook, but not able to make the move. These tires Goodyear brought are so good, they just don't fall off.
David Starr, silently running in 5th position, has had a great race today. Tracy Hines in 6th. Martin McFarland in the 59, a rookie, in 7th position.
Look at that side-by-side battle back there for 5th. Tracy Hines on the inside, able to make the pass on David Starr. Rick Crawford on the inside of Mark McFarland trying to take over. Got a caution flag on the racetrack.
Caution comes out.
Hank Parker Jr. gets turned around on the front stretch, able to get back going. Going to stay on the lead lap.
As we mentioned, the Truck Series will not finish under caution. You will see green, white, checkered. So there will be a race to that checkered flag. Jack Sprague, Dennis Setzer currently in the best position to claim that checkered flag. And Jack Sprague hasn't shown so far that he's willing to give up that spot.
And this will be a single file restart. We're inside the last 10 laps of the race. There will be no lap trucks to contend with. Dennis Setzer will have a clean shot at Jack Sprague on this restart. But I think the gamble by Bobby Hamilton to come in and put tires on his truck is not going to work. I do not think he's going to have enough time to get back to the front of this field.
And we thought that was a gamble. Early on, it was so much track position. We were amazed when Bobby Hamilton came in, but almost equally amazed that he's been able to work his way back up to 4th.
Yeah, I was shocked that Bobby came in, and he has done a terrific job to get back to 4th. He has such a good truck, and having more time, he may be able to do more, but this is 250. Look at Matt Crafton. When we talked to Wally Rogers a few minutes ago, this truck looked like it had no damage on it whatsoever, and look at it now. Let's take a look and see how this happened, Rick. This is right on the restart. He got into the 30th. That's what sent Brandon Witt up into the wall here in turn number 1. Tough break for both these guys. Brandon Witt had a 7th place run going, would have been his best career finish. And Matt Crafton also had a good run going. They had a little conversation there coming down right below our broadcast position here. Brandon was not too happy with Matt Crafton.
No.
You get inside of 20 laps to go, and just about, as you mentioned, patience goes out the window.
Yeah, these guys aren't making friends right now. They're out there to win this race or to finish as high as they possibly can.
Here they are. This is turn 4 right here. See Brandon Witt going to pull up beside Matt Crafton to let him know that he's not real happy with him. He's saying, Matt, I wish you hadn't done that. But
yeah, Matt, I'm sure he got the point.
Yeah, but it wasn't intentional. There's no way it was intentional. Matt just drove down in the corner, got into the back of him a little bit. But again, these drivers are doing all they can do to try to get every position they can get here in the last 15 laps. Ray Dunlap.
Hey guys, 46 and 16 up front. First of all, let me add on the 46. Dennis Setzer said he's way too tight in the center. He doesn't believe he can beat the 16. 2 or 3 days ago, I asked Jack Sprague what he thinks about green, white, checkered, because there was some rumor that it may be going away in this series. Sprague said, I really hate him whenever I lose, but I really like him when I win. He said, I've won about 6 of them on a green, white, checker. I've only lost 3, so we'll see how that holds up for Sprague today on the green, white, checkered finish. Wendy?
Well, Ray, we got more stories on the 10 truck. They are having transmission problems. They have lost third gear. Their spotters are communicating with the 4 truck behind them. He's worried about the restart happening. They're also worried about fuel mileage. If they go over 250 laps, they are not going to make it.
Well, Wes Ward told us earlier that they had an overdrive transmission, so him losing third gear is not as critical as it would be to someone that had a more traditional style transmission. So I don't think that's going to be that critical to Terry Cook. But now if he runs out of fuel, I think you do have to have a little bit of fuel. hopefully we'll see one to go here from NASCAR. We are going to see one to go. So it essentially will be a green-white checker. We will go probably one lap beyond the prescribed 250 lap distance.
Chris Showalter anxiously awaiting the restart with his truck out in front. Mike Dolan has taken the pace truck into the infield.
It's going to be a 2-lap shootout, Rick, for all the marbles.
Green-white checkered. A great way to finish a great race in Mansfield, Ohio. As they come out of turn number 4, Dennis James will give them the green flag for the final time.
Another good restart by Jack Sprague. They're side by side, back for about the 6th position. David Starr and Mark McFarland.
This time by Jack Sprague. 1 to go.
I don't think Dennis is going to have anything for Jack Sprague. He's got about 2 truck lengths to make up. It's not going to happen. It's going to be Jack Sprague, Rick.
3 and 4. Here comes Jack Sprague for win number 24 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Here he goes, hangs on for a great 3rd place finish. Bobby Hamilton 4th. Tracy Hines, best career finish in 5th. And Mark McFarland, a best career finish in 6th. And Jim Harris is Dodge.
Yeah, unbelievable. Jack Sprague started up front because of owner's points and finished up front because of great driving ability. So Jack Sprague claims the UAW-GM Ohio 250, the first time ever at Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. 24th win in this series. He knows how to burn them out. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap, who's with Jack Sprague.
And Rick, here's what's so funny about this thing. Jack Sprague won 23 races driving truck number 24. The winningest truck number in this series is 16. And today, Sprague gets his 24th win in number truck 16. Come on out of there, Jack. He did one heck of a burnout out here on the front stretch for these 22,000 fans here at Mansfield. He had the pole today. He elected to go to the outside of the front row. And Jack Sprague, last time, the last time that he was in victory lane, 2001 at Richmond. Here comes Sprague into the crew. A strange start to the season. Man, come on in here. 24 victories, buddy. Congratulations. What a great race today.
That's pretty cool, wasn't it?
That was very cool.
I tell you what, this Chevy truck Chevrolet was like a rock today. I mean, it was awesome. Beginning it was a little bit tight, but I had a great truck Friday, and Dennis got in front of me there. I thought, man, that's going to be hard to pass him because he's pretty good. But, man, I got to thank all my sponsors. I got to look again. Allison Transmissions, Vortec Engine, Articat, Sunoco, Silverado, NASCAR.
That's good to have all them on your...
That's a good thing. It pays the bills, man. XM Radio, Rhodes, Quadrasteer, OnStar.
Were you worried about Hamilton getting tires late in the race?
Yeah, I was worried about that, but I kept watching. He could get a couple spots, and Dave kept telling me, you know, he's having a hard time passing. So, I mean, that was a little scary running 170 laps on tires, but we got beat by that at Martinsville, so we opted to try it. And Dave and Chris made a great call, did a great job. The pit stop was great. These guys worked hard. I mean, it worked. I love it.
All those great races with Hornaday in the 16. What's it like to win in this number?
I knew it was easy to win this number. That was his deal.
Jack Sprague back in victory lane, win number 24 of his career.
Celebration continues, and when a new manufacturer enters NASCAR, people tend to sit up and take notice. So we'd like to continue to shed light on this development with a Toyota Spotlight. Looking at Mike Skinner, had a little bit of a rough day today in the Toyota Tundra 42.
It made a late pit stop, one of the last trucks on the lead lap to pit. Got caught in some trouble. There's some trouble right there. There's Steve Park. That's when he was in that last crash with Bill Lester. But he soldiered on and caught 11th place finish. Not a bad finish, as much trouble as Mike Skinner had.
And so Mike Skinner comes back in the top Toyota finishing position at 11th. Jack Sprague continues to celebrate win 24.
First time ever Dennis Setzer leads the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series point standings. You couldn't have done it without that second place finish. How do you feel?
Well, that's pretty cool. You know, it's a big step for Morgan Dollar and myself. You know, pretty cool for Silverado to win the race here and take over the points lead. So we're excited about the whole program.
We thought you were going to have something for Jack at the end.
I hope so also. Jack was really good beginning in the race right there and then got really good there at the end. We were pretty good through the middle stages right there. Got by Jack coming up through the traffic and stuff, and unfortunately it didn't work out. You know, our RCR motors, they carried us to the front today, and we'll get the chassis better and help those motors a little bit.
All right, Dennis Setzer, our NASCAR Craftsman point leader. Guys?
Well, let's take a look at that points list in the Ford point standings. Dennis Setzer moves up on top of Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards, a little disappointing finish, finished 17th today, and so he drops to second in the point standings. David Rudeman, very strong in the points run as a rookie, currently in third.
All 10, top 10, inside of 100 points after 4 races. That's pretty incredible.
Travis Quapple with a difficult day today, currently 99 points out of the top spot. It's been a wonderful day in Mansfield, Ohio. We are moving on to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Infineon 200, just 5 days away. That's Friday, this Friday, coming up, 8:30 p.m. Eastern at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Going to be a great race under the lights at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Those of you tuning in for the AMA Superbike, live from Birmingham, Alabama, you will not miss 1 second of the action. That will be coming to you just after the conclusion of our post-race show here. Jack Sprague continuing to